Okay, I think we're going to get started. So welcome to our virtual Year 6 open evening. It is the strangest experience to be sitting in a room and not being able to sort of feed off the atmosphere in the room at open evening. It's normally really busy. We've got loads of people in and around the school, and frankly, it's not quite the same. But hopefully you've had a chance to watch the video and listen to the podcast. Gilly, I'm going to pick on you again, please, because you're still on camera. Can you give us a thumbs up about the video? Did you enjoy that video? 2 thumbs up, even better. That's fantastic. I'm hoping that's the same for everybody else. We've now got 57 people in the room. So I'm going to move on. Just a bit of housekeeping for the presentation. Can I ask? Just got to move that off the screen. Can I ask that? All of that stuff basically, so we need to turn cameras and microphones off if you haven't already done so. So I won't be able to talk to you anymore, Gilly, sorry. And hopefully you've had a chance to submit any questions. I have had a few questions in, and I will have answered those hopefully by the end of the presentation. And really the key for this is that all your questions are answered by the time we finish with the presentation. So all the questions should be answered. There's also some chat on Twitter. There's also our post on Facebook. And if you've got any further questions, obviously after the presentation, I hope you haven't, but if you have, then please do email open.evening@LEC Academy. Because I do a blog each week, I should be able to answer those questions on the blog. It is being recorded as we go tonight, and that we'll upload that video onto the website tomorrow. So I'm just getting the next few people in. We've got 60 people in. Brilliant. That is great news. So let me move through to the next slide. Really, this is what our vision for our school is. And it's really important that we focus on the learning opportunities rather than just the lessons. It's opportunities that, given normal circumstances where we take students out, we use leadership opportunities, we do all sorts of things after school, before school, and so on. So it's not just the learning that happens in the classroom that we focus on, it's the opportunities that we believe we do at LECA really well. And the focus on that key word, every student, every member of the academy making outstanding progress in whatever field they do. Progress is not all about academia. Progress is about how students progress in whatever they want to do. They want to be a dancer, that's outstanding progress if they get to be a dancer. And then obviously contributing to a world that is ever changing. Obviously we've experienced that in the last year or so, haven't we? With COVID-19, but also with jobs that don't even exist yet. There are hundreds and thousands of jobs that are out there that don't exist yet, and this is what we're trying to prepare our students for as they move through the academy. How we do it is this: we want our students to be inspired. It is something else, really, isn't it? When you think about it, to be inspired by something. We want our teachers to be inspiring, and we want them to be inspired at school. And so we took that word when we first created the school, not so long ago, and we took that word and we turned it into this acronym: independent, never give up, solution focused, progress driven. All those things, all those words on the screen there. And what we want our students to be is all of those things. And the way that we will reward our students throughout the school day, in their lessons, with their homework, with their extracurricular, is we focus on what they've done well. So have they been really independent? Have they been solution focused? Have they been innovative? Have they just been respectful in their everyday work? This is what we want our students to be. I posed this question to our teachers before we opened. What kind of students do we want to create at LECA? This is what we want to create. These are the students that we want to create that have all these attributes that actually, so when they leave our school, they're fully prepared for the modern world that they're going into. Our core beliefs at LECA are that, first of all, that IQ is not static. We often hear about people talking about whether someone has an IQ of 90, 100, 120, whatever it is. There's lots of research out there that suggests that IQ is not static, and you don't just have one IQ throughout your life. We believe really strongly that IQ is not static, based upon the research that we've accessed, and it can be developed and grown. And therefore, prior attainment should not limit and does not limit what students can achieve. We strongly believe that. Just admitting some more people. We strongly believe that prior attainment shouldn't and doesn't limit. We never, ever, ever talk about students as low ability. So often you hear schools say, oh, this is a low ability student or high ability student. We don't talk about those students like that. That's not fair. We never label students as low ability. And in the right conditions, we believe really strongly that students can achieve well beyond what many would predict. So we believe that if you give them the right conditions to learn, if we give them the right way to learn, they can achieve higher than they would ever have dreamt of. And then finally, and really the key thing that sits at the heart of what we do at LECA is having a growth mindset. And we believe that having a growth mindset rather than a fixed one will impact results. So if you say to yourself, I'm not going to give up, I am going to be solution focused, I am going to work hard, I'm not going to see failure as something that is a stopping point, it's a starting point, it's a turning point. And having a growth mindset is what we talk about all the time at LECA, and that will impact results. We're absolutely certain of it. Oh, I've been dumped out of something. Let me just move that. There we go. Okay, so our philosophy is called Learning Without Limits. So what we focus on is teaching high levels of challenge and high order thinking. That means that we teach to the top and we scaffold down. So we go stretch really high and then we help people on the way up. And that's a really key part of what we do. A really key part of what we do. Just letting some more people in. We strongly believe that children will rise to the challenge and that children actually enjoy challenging. You put a load of Lego in front of a child and said, make me a car, they'll make you a car. They'll really love making that car. But we haven't told them how to do it. We haven't given them instructions, right? And we believe really strongly that children enjoy rising to challenges, right? And they will rise to them. And we always look to try and deepen knowledge rather than try to race through. The focus really over the last couple of years has been slowing down the delivery of the curriculum so we can go deep and broad rather than just racing through a surface. And that's been a really important kind of sea change in education anyway, and certainly a focus that Ofsted has turned our attention to in a good way, I think. Okay, so that's our philosophy, learning without limits. In our first year, when we first tested our students when they came in, we tested them against a GCSE grade 1, and in September they achieved the results that are on the board, on the screen there. By July, the difference that we'd made in the way that we teach, and this is like the impact, if you like, from the learning without limits philosophy, is immense. So maths had gone up 33%, English had gone up 46%, science had gone up 64%. So combined, English and maths were 75%. That, in anyone's book, is fantastic results. The next year it followed through. So once we think about how the results project forward, we can make these kind of predictions. So on the screen there, and these predictions are at least what Ofsted would expect as outstanding. So grade 4, both meet English and maths, 70% grade 4, 47% grade 5. The old money grades are in the brackets there. There's a lot of people who are still confused, and sometimes we still have to think about it in our heads as teachers because we've been used to grades in letters rather than numbers. So in the brackets there is what those equate to, and I'm sure there are people in the room who have got children who have gone through other schools who have had their grades as well in numbers this year. Okay, so when we think about our progress, we don't just think about how the students do academically, but we think about our attendance as well. So when we think about our attendance, we look at anywhere, but we're always aiming for above 96%. The national last year was 95.1, and we were 96.3. And out of the numbers in 2018-19, our last full year, if you like, we had 130 students who were in the 97 to 100% bracket. That's only out of 2 year groups, don't forget, and then also 34 students on 100% attendance for the entire year. With our persistent absence is anything below 90%. We had 3.7% of our students in that bracket. The national percentage is 10.9, so we were well below the national average, which is fantastic. What does this tell us? Why is it important? It's important to us because it shows that our parents support us. our parents will do their utmost to get their children to school. That's really important to us. So they're supporting us, which is fantastic. The other thing is that it tells us is that actually the students enjoy being at Lecker. There's something driving them to get out of bed when they don't feel so well, because bucking the trend by 7% almost, but nationally is a fantastic figure. So it tells us that you support us, and also that the students actually want to be here, and that's a real credit to us. And I really appreciate all the help that the parents give us with supporting their students' attendance. So Lecker versus national, again, we're looking at outstanding attendance data there as well. One of the things that people always want to have a look at is behaviour, and of course it's important that you compare these with other schools. At Lecker over our last full year, so that's 2018-19, really difficult to kind of judge it over half a year when we closed it on March the 23rd. But after last full year, 99.5% of all our lessons went undisrupted by a removal. Undisrupted. That's over 8,000 lessons that went undisrupted by a removal. And that means that only 0.5% were affected by a removal over the whole academic year. What does that tell you? I hope it tells you that we've got really clear systems. We're very supportive. We've got clear sanctions in place. The students know that there are lines that they're not allowed to cross once they walk into Lecker, and they know that they don't want to be out of lessons. They enjoy their lessons, otherwise they wouldn't be there in the first place. It's really simple. We've got clear systems. You can see that by looking around the site. We've got no graffiti. We've got no contact, obviously, at the moment as well. We've got no litter. And I can tell you now, it's 100% respect. The way the students talk to us, the way we talk to them, it's really something special to behold. And if it wasn't for COVID, unfortunately, we've got some restrictions on who can come in and out of the school. We'd be running teas and tours, which is an offer that we rolled out last year, whereby parents could come around during the school day and actually see us operating. And I think actually that tells you a lot about our school, that they're willing to open the doors to parents at any time. So you can see what we're about, and you can see what sort of atmosphere that is in the school. As soon as we're allowed to do that, I love to do it. Come in, have a cup of tea, have a walk around with me, and you'll see all the things that I'm talking about. That I'm saying tonight are true. Okay, let's move on to the next bit. So at the moment, I think in the past we were probably rightly criticised for not delivering a massive curriculum. That's because we were still growing. We are still growing as well. So there's probably more to come. I'd like to say there's more to come. Currently, though, we're delivering 25 subjects, and I think that's a pretty decent offer for a small school with a small amount of staff. So you can see that on the screen. Now, the reason I've changed the colours on that is because the ones in black are the ones that we deliver in Key Stage 3. There's a little bit of photography in Key Stage 3 as well. And then the ones in red are the ones that we add at Key Stage 4. So we add the engineering, the design, technology, childcare, health and social care, and so on. You can see all the other ones in red there. So currently 25 subjects. And again, I think that's very competitive compared to lots of other schools. What you will notice is that there is only one foreign language on there, but I'll get onto that later. I'm hoping to add another one. But at the moment, we've got 25 subjects, including the difference between English language and literature and the triple science that we add at Key Stage 4. So I think that's a pretty competitive offer compared to lots of other schools, and it covers all sorts of interests. You can choose a very practical pathway, or you can choose a very academic pathway. We don't mind. We don't actually push students a particular way. When they get to Key Stage 4, it's very much up to them what they choose. So we have got students who are doing, a very creative pathway, and that's absolutely fine by us. So our extracurricular, much of what we do after school is to extend learning, essentially. So we've got some catch-up classes, we've got some Spanish classes going on at the moment. The maths and English will go on. We've got obviously art club, we've got sports clubs. Food technology, music lessons, science club has just started up again. Obviously at the moment we are under some fairly strict conditions, so we can't mix year groups, and obviously that is something that we want to add as soon as we're allowed to do. But under the restrictions that we're working under, it's difficult to do that safely. So there's probably not as much as we'd like at the moment, but we're doing as much as we possibly can under the circumstances. And as soon as things loosen up a little bit, we will loosen up with them and make sure that we're offering as much as we possibly can. Okay, so personal development is something that we are devoted to at LECA. One of the things that we rolled out in the first year was our LECA Young Persons Award, which is the second one down there. This year we're introducing prefects, and we've already got some applications from some keen students to be prefects this year. We've got subject leaders, sports leaders, we've got all the clubs that I mentioned on the previous slide. We do a huge amount of charity work. To date, we've raised well over £5,000 for different charities all around the locality, first of all, but also on a national scale. You know, once restrictions are lifted, we do a massive range of educational visits, right? You know, from galleries and art and museums, through to skiing trips, through to Framlingham Castle, all sorts of things that once COVID is under control and we can do more residentials, obviously residentials too. We sent a group of girls to the Brecon Beacons. Well, we didn't send them there. They wanted to go to the Brecon Beacons a couple of years ago. They had a great time, and that was a lot of team building that they did there. The other thing that we do locally is the Dorset Walk for the Malcolm Wales Foundation, which is a local charity. And then we do the Duke of Edinburgh Award for year 9 and 10 as well. Of course, a lot of this is kind of on hold, on ice at the moment. But as soon as we're ready to go, as soon as we can, we'll be ready to go and start again. So the support structure at LECA, we've got a huge sort of spider web, I suppose, of support at LECA. It starts with parents, I've got to say. It starts with you guys, you know, communicating with us, talking to us, making sure that you can that you tell us what's going well, and you also tell us what's going not so well, and we can fix it as soon as possible. Just got to get this waiting room off the screen. There we go. Then we have a form tutor system. Then we have our subject teachers. Then we have our progress leaders, who are like in old money, the year heads. We use Centre 33 for support, so they do counselling. At the moment, they're doing that via telephone or via Zoom. We've also got the pop-up church, who come in and take different year group bubbles. They were in on Friday. It was great to see them. They come in from St George's and circulate, talk to the students, anything that they want to talk about. We've got a family liaison worker who's fantastic, Rachel Grant. We've got a young people's worker who just started, Crystal Sturman, this year. We've got some mentors who come in and work with students, and again, they've come through the local church at St George's. And then obviously we've got Highfield Littleport Academy, who are right next door. We tap into them for help with all things special needs, and equally they come to us and we share our resources with them. And actually we have a few of their students coming through to us for lessons and so on. So it's fun. Again, not at the moment, but we have done in the past. So that's that's a fantastic resource. And of course, we have the Active Learning Trust. And just sort of from a personal point of view, I've worked for the Active Learning Trust since its very inception, back in sort of 2012. So I've been with them a long time. They're a brilliant trust. They've got 21 schools. We've got another three secondary schools within the trust. And the support within the trust is fantastic. So if I don't know how to do something, there's always somebody who can help me. And likewise, the other way around, if I had an email today from another head in another school asking if they could come and see our curriculum, of course they can, absolutely. And that's the way we work at LECA. So we're very much part of one family and one trust. Okay, so this is the one that normally we get a bit of a sharp intake of breath. We don't have parents' evenings at LECA, and thankfully I'm sitting in my office at home, so I don't have to look at you guys going, what? So we don't have parents' evenings. I counter that with why would we want to tie you to one evening in a year or 2 evenings in a year? You know, you can call us and we can arrange a meeting with you any time. So we don't want you to be tied to parents' evenings, and I don't want to tie my staff to one evening where they get 10 minutes or even less to talk about your child. You can have a meeting at any time, either in person or online. At the moment, more online. You can call teachers directly through the switchboard, leave a message, chat to them about your child, email us directly to teachers. And then once it's safe, like I said, you can come and see and have a look around and see us in action during the day. And I'm sure there's a few people who have joined us tonight who've been on those teas and tours, and I know they had a good time. So we are open 24/7. You can drop an email anytime. It will get picked up in the morning. I tell my staff to get back to you within a working day. So if you drop it on a Friday, we'll get back to you by a Monday. But usually we'll get back to you sooner than that. So it will be really quick. And then either we can have a conversation with you over the phone, or we can arrange a meeting so you can go into more detail, and that gives us a chance to sort of collate any information that you're after. So we think it's a great system. We did consult with parents before we did it, and the overwhelming majority said, actually, yeah, we think parents' evenings are quite a tough call, and we don't really get all the information we need, and this is much better. So we're really happy with it. We're going to stick with this. So that's what kind of we offer. Is a slightly unique thing. We did an hour about it, but we decided it was the best way to move forward. Oh, I'm clicking on a little bit now. So our educational campus is something that I think is fairly unique around this area. We've got the leisure centre, we've got the stepping stones, the nursery, if you like. There was talk about a primary school on the site as well. We're not sure whether that will happen or not, but we're hoping it does. But we've also got our community wider than that. Obviously, we work closely with the other secondaries, including King's. We've got a great relationship with King's School Ely. And of course, we've got our trust as well, supporting with Highfield on the same site as us, and obviously Lecker in the centre of that campus. So it's really very much everything we do is a campus approach. We work with the people around us, and we work within our village to do as much as we can to make it a positive and kind place to be. So it's really our campus, our community is key to what part of the heart of our ethos really. Got some more people coming in. That's one of our students. That's even better. Okay, so as a new school, obviously we opened in 2017, and really, we would be foolish not to embrace the technology that's around us. So the first thing that we use is Go for Schools, which is your sort of one-stop shop, if you like, for attainment, behaviour, positive points, maybe some negative points, attendance. And then all your progress against all your subjects. So that's an app that parents can download. They can have notifications pop up. So if they've got an award in English for doing some great question and answer, that will pop up on your phone as a notification. So it's all real time, and then it updates overnight as well. We've added GCSE Pod this year for our Year 10s. So it's another online bit of software where they can plug in the pods, sort of like little videos. Essentially where they can watch a little bit of revision. So if they've done a lesson on cells, for example, or the nervous system, they can go onto GCSE Pod, type it in, watch a little pod, and if they still need to do a little bit more, there'll be another 3 or 4 pods lined up for them to watch as well. So it's a great new system. Big investment for them this year. Obviously they've missed a lot of school last year, so that's all been rolled out to Year 10. A fantastic bit of software. Sam Learning is more sort of Key Stage 3 based, but the same kind of idea where there's videos and there's activities for them to do, and a lot of the teachers use it for homework. So that's where they can pick up homework. We've got My Maths, we've got Caboodle, which is for science. We've got Tassamai for science as well, sort of more Key Stage 4 based. We've got Pearson Active Learn, which I know Miss Gonzalez uses in Spanish. We've got Folder, which is an online platform whereby students can access work from home, which was very handy during the lockdown. We use school comms to send out text messages and emails. We've got biometric and a cashless system. We don't use fingerprints at the moment for obvious reasons, but we can operate it in a different way. And we've got a login system for when people come in to see us called Inventory. What else we've got? My Concern. My Concern is our safeguarding software, which is all secure. Essentially, when we have a child protection concern or a safeguarding concern, it gets logged. We can add tasks to it, so we don't forget anybody. Obviously, that's a key part of the process. We can see who's top of our list, who's sort of moving down the list, if you like, and it means that everybody in our school we have a picture of any concerns that have been raised by staff. It's a brilliant bit of software, and something that we would never be without now. We are very hardware rich at Lecker as well, so we've got a lot of laptops and a lot of iPads. And then finally, really the main thing that you'll see most of the stuff about Lecker is on our Facebook page, on Twitter. We've got an Instagram, we've got a website, and we've got my blog, which goes out on a Sunday afternoon, which I'm not plugging much. So that's a bit about Lecker and technology. I kind of whizzed through those because there is so much stuff, and the students really enjoy using it. And you know, we're trying to move away from booklets and lots of photocopying and lots of energy usage. Really, essentially, it's all about being, you know, online. And as much as we'll be very wary of too much screen time, we also need to be aware that actually this is the way the world is going for more efficient learning. The last thing that actually isn't on here, which I was talking about tonight with my team, is Microsoft Teams, which we'll be using as well, and we'll be rolling out slowly over the next couple of months with the teachers and with the students. So we get the teachers using it first, make sure they know what to do, and then we'll be rolling out with the students as well later. And it's kind of similar to Zoom, but it has more functionality with regards to setting assignments and doing collaborative work and so on. So Microsoft Teams is the next move forward for us, which is very exciting. Okay, so obviously, as a new school, we wanted to put ourselves out there as somewhere which is promotes a healthy lifestyle. Our kitchen is brilliant. We've got a brilliant chef and a brilliant team. Most days, we've got the students have got a choice of 3 or 4 different sort of main courses they can choose from. On top of that, they can choose from, you know, fruit pots or sandwiches or baked potatoes, all sorts of other things, salads. We had a salad bar set up last summer. I'm sure that will come back. We had a soup kitchen going on as well, which was great. And it's really important, you know, an army marches on its stomach, doesn't it? So it's important that our food is really good, and we're really proud of what we offer at Lecker. It's certainly better, far better than any other school I've worked at. And then obviously the other side of that, our physical health, and then our mental health is really important as well. You will see on the website that we've got a mental health strategy that Mr. Tatham has put together in conjunction with the YMCA, who are, you know, one of the leading mental health charities out there. So that's a fantastic piece of work that he's done with that. And I urge you to have a look at how we work with students who are experiencing mental health issues and wellbeing issues. And of course, we've got our newest members of staff, Crystal and Rachel, helping with students and families as well with any issues like that. During the summer and throughout the year, we have primary sports festivals. Again, we're not allowed to do that at the moment, unfortunately. It has put a sort of kibosh to quite a lot of what we do at Lecker. Of transition, I'll talk about transition a little bit later. And then obviously we work with Liverpool Leisure really closely, and we host the park run, which I believe is going to be restarting very, very shortly. So that'd be great to have the park runners back on site. Okay, so we put out to you guys to submit some questions. So we've collated these in the last few hours, and I'll put them onto the PowerPoint. So I'll run through them one by one, and then I've got a little surprise for you with the last few slides as well, and for a particular young lady who I hope is watching, by the way. This was not one particular person. This was actually quite a few people who came to me and asked about specific learning needs. What support will students get? The first thing is that we have a testing system set up at Lecker, whereby we'll test all the Year 7s as they come in for their reading and writing, numeracy, and so on. So it's whilst we accept that SATs are the SATs, we also know that actually there's quite a lot of things that the SATs don't pick up. So, and actually the SATs can be a lot, you know, can be quite I don't know what the word is. What's the word? And not always as reliable as we'd like them to be. Some people have good days with the tests, some people don't. It's that simple. So we do our own testing, and we like the way we do it. We use GL assessments, which is a nationally recognised benchmark of English, maths, and reading. So the first thing we'll do is test the students. The next thing we'll do is we'll design some bespoke support if necessary. But if a particular student has particular needs, they will come with some background information from their primary school, or they'll come with an EHCP, in which case we will use the plan to design whatever interventions that needs. So if that means that that they need a lot of numeracy support or literacy support, that's what we'll do. So we might sort of do some work in the morning, or do some work during the day, whereby they get extra English or extra maths during the day to make sure that we can catch up as much as possible. We have a wide range of students with a wide range of different needs at LECA, and it's really about the support package that we put in is in partnership with parents, and it's about the information that is passed to us that we can work with. So that's really important, is that we get all the information that we need, and then the primary school that they come from passes us all the information that we need, and we can make sure that the transition is really smooth. Often when we have more complex needs, our assistant Senko, Mrs. Howard, will go out and meet parents in the school, meet the class teachers and so on. So we get an absolute 360 idea of what, how they're experiencing learning, and then we can move on from there. So I can't talk about every single condition or every single learning need that we're talking about here. It would take hours, but what I would say is that every single student will get a plan, will get a package. What will happen during transition? So the main things that will happen in transition is that we will talk to your primary schools, and then we'll talk to the students. It's really that simple. And that will either happen remotely or it will happen in person. Obviously, we'd like to do it in person. And then during a normal transition week, students will come up, they'll spend 2 or 3 days in school, we'll have a pop-up uniform shop, we'll have a day when we'll get all the students together doing sports. And I'm really, really hoping we can do it this year, because it is a cracking 2 or 3 days. It's really busy, it's really tiring, but it's a really great few days for transition. But it happened, again, a lot of stuff happens before that. So we'll go and meet class teachers, we'll get some background information about students, how they interact with each other, what their friendship groups are like, all that sort of thing, where we gather a picture of what people are like in their schools. And then we'll talk to parents as well. So we'll have that opportunity. And once you've picked us, if you like, and we hope you all do, once you've picked us, we'll have another evening, a transition evening, and a chance for students to have a look at the sort of things that they can get involved in at LECA when they join. So it's a whole program, and obviously that will come to light. Once we know who's chosen us, we'll get that information out to you as soon as we can. Oh, sets or mixed ability. It's really interesting, this question. A lot of people ask this question. And interesting in the way that essentially there's no bit of research that says that mixed ability groups or sets are any better than each other. There's no defining bit of research that says that. So we've kind of chosen the middle ground, if that makes sense. We've done some mixed ability groups in year 7, then they get streamed a little bit in year 8 in maths and science, and that continues on in year 9. And then we start to build some sort of clear setting in year 10 and 11 to make sure that we're pitching exactly where we should be. Now, that all being said, because of the way we teach, it shouldn't actually matter whether they're mixed ability or not, because we're learning without limits. So we're teaching to the top, the highest possible point, and we're scaffolding down to make sure that nobody gets missed along the way. That's the way we teach. So my view is, doesn't really matter whether it's mixed or sets, to be honest, because nothing really proves it either way, whether one is better than the other. If there was a key bit of research that said that sets were better than mixed, I'd be doing it, believe me, but there isn't. So we've gone with mixed in year 7, and then we've kind of sort of built in a little bit of streaming as we go through the school, but it's not all the way through. It's not 7 to 11. So I hope that answers your questions, whoever sent that one in. Okay, so I said I'll talk about this. Will you ever deliver more than one foreign language? I'm really hoping we can. Teacher recruitment isn't easy. I'm going to be totally honest about that. It's not easy. It's not easy to attract teachers, full stop, no matter what the subject. So yes, we'd like to deliver more than one foreign language. I'd like to put on German or French. Another one. But yeah, it will all depend on the labour market at the time. But yes, I'd like to extend our modern foreign languages, certainly. That was a good question, whoever sent that one in. Thank you. What books do we study in year 7 English? Okay, so what we like to do is, once the students come to Lecker, is start that canon of English literature. So you get a little bit of reference to Charles Dickens in the first half term, then go to a bit of Chaucer. So some extracts from the Canterbury Tales, the Knight's Tale, the Miller's Tale. Then we're into the Beowulf, which is obviously myths and legends, dragons and so on, dragon slayers, and then we end on the big one, Shakespeare, at the end. So but in year 7, not full text straight off the bat, extracts and so on. We focus on key elements. So in Shakespeare, for example, it might be that we're focusing on bad guys, but certainly, and there's loads of bad guys in Shakespeare. So that's kind of what we start with, and then we'll go on to full novel study, full play study in 8, 9, and then preparing them for year 10. So that's kind of what we do. Usually in 8 and 9, get onto things like Midsummer Night's Dream and Macbeth for Shakespeare, for example. So lots of good stuff. Yeah, really focusing on some of the big hitters, the early big hitters. So Chaucer, Beowulf, and then Shakespeare as well. Not in that order. If my child has food allergies, okay, so when you join Lecker, or before you join Lecker, you fill out a student information form, which is an arduous task, but actually that's then inputted into our system, and that system carries over to our food tilled system as well. So it's all kind of linked together in this web. And essentially that carries over stuff to the kitchen to allow to tell the kitchen staff that your child is celiac, or your child can't tolerate nuts, or whatever it is, and that pops up on their screen. It's all very clever. It's well beyond my measure of understanding, but that's essentially what it does. Our menus, whilst they might look quite simple, are all scientifically put together by nutritional experts who work for our catering company. That all comes to our chef here, and then chef delivers that as per the recipe. So it's, as long as you tell us, we'll know about it, and then we'll be able to make sure that your child's safe with the food that we serve. Okay, now I hope Millie is watching, because Millie basically has stitched me up, right? Because Millie decided that she was going to send me about 20 questions. So I thought, well, I can't ignore that. I've got to just get on with it, right? So I hope she's there, and I'm just letting someone else into the waiting room, and I hope that she is okay with these answers. So I'm going to whiz through them. I'm going to whiz through them if I can. Let's see. Will there be a morning break? Okay, so I'm going to have to answer these in pre and post, sort of current conditions and post-COVID, hopefully. So will there be a morning break? Current conditions, the breaks are taken in class. So you bring a snack with you and you have a break in class. Normal conditions, you have 20-minute break, you come down to the canteen, there's various things on the canteen. So at the moment, it's not great, if I'm honest, but I think it's pretty much similar in most other schools. Do you go outside for lunch or break? Yeah, you can. At lunchtime, yeah, you go outside. In fact, you have to go outside at some points, because we have to clear the dining room and get it all cleaned up and sanitized before the next year group come in. So that's really important that happens. Break time, no. At the moment, not in classrooms. Normal conditions, yes, you'd be outside at break time, definitely. Get some fresh air, stretch your legs. Okay, next one. Will the cafeteria fit us all in at once? No, basically, it won't. It's not big enough, nowhere near big enough. I don't know why they did that to us, but basically the way it works normally with 4-year groups in, we would do 2-year groups coming through at a time at lunchtime. Give them a chance to get their food, eat it, and then we'd rotate through the next year group. So it's just about staggering it. It's nowhere near big enough. It's barely big enough for 1-year group, let alone all of us at the same time. I wish it was. So next one. Will we go to teachers' class, or will the teachers come to us? Okay, at the moment, COVID restrictions mean that we are in zones. So the year 8, for example, will have like 4 or 5 classrooms to work in. And they will move between those in that zone so they don't cross over with anybody else. And then the teachers will go to their rooms. So it's kind of a little bit of both. Normally the students will be all over the school, buzzing around like flies in a jar. But in this instance, they're just moving up and down a corridor, essentially. Apart from year 10, you get a little bit more freedom. So the answer, Millie, to your question is most of the time the teachers are coming to you with a little bit of movement in between, if that makes sense. I hope it does. Do we have to carry our bags around with us, or is there some place we can leave them? No, you have to carry your bags around, Millie. Sorry about that. You have to carry your bags around, but if you think about it, at the moment, you're only literally walking like maybe a couple of meters to the next classroom, so you're not gonna be too worn out. And then the next bit is probably going down to PE, and the worst bit is probably maybe if you have to go up to IT. Sadly, I know it only takes 90 seconds to walk from PE to IT, which is the two opposite corners of my school. So you haven't got to carry your bag for very long. And I know you're going to have a few books in it and stuff, but you should be all right. You should be all right. And you do get used to it, I promise. Okay, what's the next one, Millie? When does school start and finish? Okay, so at the moment, year 7, they go in to school at 8:15 and they finish at 3 o'clock, or just before 3, actually 10 to 3. So, and then we stagger the finish time. So we stagger the start times. Normally, the normal school day is 8:30 till 3 for everybody. All right. So I hope that helps answer that question for you. How much homework do we get for the first year? A lot. No, you get knowledge-based homework a lot of the time. So it's kind of learning key terms, learning core knowledge that you need and you will need throughout your 5 years at Lecker. So you'll start off learning maybe some key vocabulary terms for English. You might learn how to label a cell in science and that kind of thing. So we set learning homeworks because we think they're more viable, if you like, and actually make a bit more sense. So if we start embedding the key knowledge now, hopefully you won't be relearning all this stuff in year 10 and 11 when you're doing your GCSEs. So we sort of do that. There might be some written homework too, and I think you've got another question on my next slide, which is something about online or in books, and I think I'll get to that in a second. Any more? What happens if there is a wet break? I nearly said you get wet, but that isn't the best answer, I suppose. A wet break. So at the moment, again, under COVID, we've got various areas, undercover areas where different year groups can go. So we've kind of split the sports hall in half. We've got year 9 and year 8 in there. They'll be completely separate. Year 7 will have an area inside, and year 10 will have an area inside. So we've got the canteen and we've got the main hall, which we can use if necessary, if there's a wet break. Statistically, over the year, you only get like 4 or 5 really wet lunches or breaks. So thankfully, it doesn't happen very often, but we have got a plan if it does. Oh, still letting people in, would you believe? Even though I've nearly finished. Right, I'm still going with Millie. I hope everyone's all right with Millie's questions. Just going to get that down. More from Millie here. How many people will be in one class? I can't really answer that, Millie, sorry. Because it's very different. So in a year 7 support group, it might only be like 7 or 8 kids in there, students in there. And then in a year 9, let's say streamed top set science group, there might be 28 students in there. So it really depends on where we are in the streaming. In the mixed groups, you're talking about anywhere between 25 students. So on average, about 25, I suppose, overall, if that's okay. So, yeah. Are there any after-school clubs? I think I've answered that, Millie. So if you were watching in the previous bit, hopefully you'll have seen that there's quite a lot of after-school clubs, and they kind of grow through the year. So I might sort of say there's this, that, and the other going on, and there will be, but there's more likely to be more, and as the prefects come in, I'm hoping that the prefects will run clubs as well. So yeah, there should be more stuff going on. There should be lots of things going on. So and also it's important for us that the students let us know what they want. So if they want a coding club, for example, then it's important that they tell us, and we can work out how we can do that, and we can do it safely under these conditions, especially. Okay, what else we got? What kind of thing do we have for lunch? Okay, so, well, all sorts really. I mean, today we had a barbecue chicken with rice, and we had some pasta, and then we had some baked potatoes, and we had some sandwiches. There's always some lovely drinks on. We've got some brand new drinks coming, so we've some lovely watermelon water come in today. All sorts of lovely things. They're all school safe. Nearly all of the drinks, apart from the flavoured waters, come in at one of your 5 a day. So lots of things for lunch. You'll be surprised how much we can offer, probably compared to your school, and that's nothing against the primary school food, but we've got a bigger kitchen, we've got more staff, and we've got more space, so we can put on better food. Can you still take, after all that, can you still take packed lunches? Yes, absolutely. Yes, you can take packed lunches. You can eat them inside or outside. Okay. Do we have homework online or in a book? Okay, so we are moving more and more so online. I understand that has its downsides as well, with screen time and so on, but that is the way the world is moving. There will still be times where you take your book home and you do your work in your book. Yeah, absolutely. So a bit of both, I think, is the answer to that question. But we are probably moving 60-40, possibly even 70-30% online rather than in a book. What sort of sports do we do for PE? All right. So PE are going to kill me because I'm going to forget loads. But I suppose the most obvious ones over winter, so we have football and rugby, netball, basketball, and we have badminton, table tennis, dodgeball, gymnastics, athletics, and I probably should go on and could go on, but I can't think of any more right now. But I hope that's given you a bit of a taste of what you can do. And obviously each year you go through things like gymnastics and so on. You progress, so you do the harder stuff as you go through. And we've obviously got teams for most of those sports as well. And again, unfortunately, we can't mix with other schools at the moment, but as soon as we can, we will. Will we be in sets? I've kind of already answered that question. So not to begin with, but then you will as you go through school, slowly but surely. You'll be mixed up to begin with. We like to mix you up. What anti-bullying measures are in place? Well, the first, do you know what? I think that the first anti-bullying measure is you. So if we know about it, we will do something about it. And I think that's probably the best bit of advice I can give about our anti-bullying. We have got documents online, but essentially, bullying is about you telling us that it's happening and that at that point we can do something about it. So that's probably my best answer to that without going through the policy line by line, which I think would be a little bit boring for you. But essentially, that's what we do. We don't tolerate bullying. Bullying is extremely rare at LECA. I can't tolerate that enough. You might get people sort of saying, oh, this happened or this happened. Bullying is extremely rare at LECA. I think it's rare at a lot of schools, to be honest. But I would say that it is a friendly school to be, and it's a far better place to be if you tell us what's bothering you and if there's anyone bothering you. Because if there is anyone bothering you, we will fix it. Promise. Do you have school trips? Yeah, I think I've covered that as well. The big one we do is a ski trip, which is so popular. We had so many people booked on it. We couldn't go this year. We can't go. We had to cancel for next year, but we've done two years, and it's been absolutely brilliant. Run by Mr. Hughes up in Science. Mr. Tatham tags along as well. Miss Cameron, who normally goes to, Mrs. Hedges goes along. It's a brilliant trip. Obviously, we were hoping we'd be able to do it February again, but it doesn't look like we can. So, but we go to the Big Bang, which is a science festival in Birmingham. Again, that was cancelled this year, but hopefully that will come on again next year. We go to art galleries and so on. I think I've said all of this already, but just in case you missed that bit, Millie, we do art galleries, we do museums and all sorts of other things as well, just like little trips out. And we also have lots of people in school as well, so it's not just about getting on a bus and going other places. It's about having people in. So we've had all sorts of people in to talk to our students, work with them, and so on. So there's lots going on. And like I said a few times already, as soon as we get back to some sort of normal, all of that stuff will restart again, which we're really looking forward to. That's pretty much what kind of what LECA was about. It's about that extra mile that we go to. I think that's all of Millie's questions. Oh no, it's one more. What subjects do we do in year 7? Right, I'm going to take. I can't I don't want to go back to the other slide, but essentially you've got your essentials. And I tell you what, I'll show you a timetable. That's probably a better idea. So here you go. Have a look at the timetable. So this is someone's timetable. Can you see that all right? Hopefully you can see that. You can see all the different subjects. So the one in pink across the sort of second from top is today, obviously, and that's why it's in pink. So this is all from Go for Schools. So when you see this, you'll be able to see what lesson they're in, whether they've been marked in or not. That's the little green box with the backslash on it there. You can see what lessons they've got, and this is a typical Year 7 timetable, which someone did actually ask me to put up, and it wasn't Millie, it was somebody else. So there you go. Hopefully that's answered your question about what a timetable looks like. Probably the one that I don't know if all of you will know what PSHE, Personal Social Health and Education. So that's one that we do. And then you've got Thursday, which is, and then after the break at 11:10, we've got theatre, film, and television, performing arts, if you like, drama, etc. With Mr. Jones there, just in case you wondered what that was. The way that's kind of slightly different is that you don't just learn what's in front of the scenes, you learn what's behind the scenes as well. So lighting, voiceovers, green screens, that kind of stuff. So there we go. And I think that is the last question. So all that remains really is thank you for bearing with me tonight, for coming on stream, for listening in this strangest of open evenings. We have got lots of ways that you can contact us or to engage with us. We love getting comments on Facebook and Twitter. We like getting involved with those pictures on Instagram as well. The blog comes out every Sunday. And that goes onto Facebook, and then it's sort of linked onto other social media as well. And that's kind of like your newsletter. So if you want to know what's happened in the week, or if you want to know what's going to be happening next week, that's where to pick up information. So do recommend that you sort of have a read of the blog on Sunday, and do leave me a comment if you'd like me to add anything to it, and so on. So I really hope that you've had a good evening tonight, that you've watched the video, got a bit of a taste of what we do every day. That you had a listen to the podcast, which was great fun. Some really fun comments on there, and I hope that you've got a bit of a picture of Lecker life from what I've presented to you tonight. We think we've got a unique offer. We think that what we present at Lecker is something really special. It's a caring, kind community, and we really hope that you choose us as your first choice. I'm going to leave you now. Thank you again for listening, for joining me tonight. And I'll leave you with our vision statement.